The Bleach anime has finally returned. It's been over a decade, and honestly, the hype was so real that I did something I rarely ever do anymore, and that is, I read a manga. That's right, I read Bleach up until more or less where this episode ends. I think I was one chapter behind in terms of where this episode ends, because I think it adapted about 4 chapters, give or take. And the main reason why I stopped there was, one, as I wanted to see a general idea of how they would structure it, so I'd have an idea of how the first episode was presented. But most importantly, I prefer not knowing where something goes, and based on every trailer I was seeing, it just looked like this was going to be a quality production. 4 cores, split core, so we're not getting back-to-back seasons of Bleach. Rather, they're going to take their time, refine this beast, and give Bleach the ending it definitely deserves. And from what I've been hearing, there's going to be some new content, some fleshed out content, but most importantly, no filler, no bullshit, straight to the meat and potatoes, and honestly, this first episode slapped. The only stuff that I really had experience with the Bleach anime is I did watch some key fights, because of course I would. There's definitely some key Bleach fights that everyone should watch, even if they've never planned on actually watching the full thing. But something about the Bleach manga that I quickly understood was there was a fast pace to it. There was constantly new things happening. And just to see how this first episode it felt like reading the manga but amplified, I really am very impressed with what this first episode delivered. They throw you right into the thick of it. They're kicking off the final arc here. And just the overall scope of what this episode was able to accomplish, in a lot of ways, it felt like watching a Bleach movie. Like, yes, people are probably going to nitpick saying, ooh, some of the hollows were 3D, which, of course they were. I mean, there's literally dozens of them, and they're literally skyscraper, that's how tall they are, right? But to see just the extra details to everything, whether it was key signature moves, which fans have come to know and expect, to just honestly, some of the new visual representations, like just the way they would shatter things and they would explode the quality on screen. They just immediately got you on board with what this arc wants to do. And from the first 5 minutes of saying, there's like 120 hollows that need to be dealt with, and then you get a couple of new characters. A little worried, because why should we be here if, someone like Ichigo is able to basically one-shot everyone here? Why do we have to be here? And then quickly, shit just got bloody. Shit got beaten. And then to see the key players come in, seeing Orihime and just her healing and just everything like that, seeing my boy Chad, one of my favorite Bleach characters. There's something that's just so amazing about this man, because I have to wonder, who takes the blame, right? He does this amazing rocket-like punch, something explodes into a building, and now here's like a skull imprint. Like, does the gas company have to take the blame for that? Like, what's going on there? But just to see the overall escalation and how it didn't even need to kick into the war. It didn't even need to really explode in terms of main narrative points yet. But they also decided to do that. And that's what's really cool, because you get a sense of, these familiar faces that for many anime fans, they haven't seen in over 10 years. And whether you've recently rewatched the anime, whether you recently reread the manga, or you experience any of those for the first time like myself, just to see them on screen in their most crisp and refined details ever, it brings a grin to your face to know that for so many people who lost faith that they would ever see the end of this show in anime form, not to mention see it, but also get it more refined, add those extra details the author wants to add. It's hard not to say, if this ain't a passion project, I don't know what is. And I'm really excited to see about the narrative that they're going about things, because essentially Soul Society, they are not any strangers to wars, but we're in the thick of it. A declaration of war has been basically declared there, and shit is already looking rather bad. I mean, the fact of the matter is, there's clearly some connection to the Quincy, which I'm interested to see what their overall true purpose is, other than obviously the destruction of Soul Society. But the whole concept of being able to suck one's Bankai out, if not remove it or be able to use it, it's still a little up in the air. The fact that my boy Ichigo, things were looking a little bad for him when he was about to use it, like you were seeing the cracks on his arm. I'm so happy he didn't immediately lose it, because I'm just coming off of my read, and this man's basically had some highs and lows of being able to use things and not be able to use things. So I'm interested to see the reason why he can't be basically broken the same way they were expecting. But most importantly, like the end of the episode, just seeing like someone who's causing such terror, and then just seeing, the group walk in and then just an arm get removed so casually. Like, this is a declaration of war, and Bleach is coming back with a bang, which we all knew it would. It was very clear after the first trailer. Like, this wasn't going to be some sloppy production, some half-ass production, where they were just milking in and saying, you know what, every anime's coming back these days, we'll finish up Bleach, but give it the bare minimum. No, they got all the VAs back. They got a real talented team, it feels like, and it still feels like the classic Bleach anime, and like I said, I didn't watch a majority of the Bleach anime, instead I read the manga, right? But there was a lot of fights that I watched through different years when the Bleach anime was airing, and it really does feel like the classic presentation you come to expect, but just done in 2022. It's the modern version of that, and it's really interesting to see how far, presentation and animation techniques have truly come, and just the way it still feels new yet old all mixed into one. And I'm really excited to see what they're going to do. Based on just the pacing of this episode and how many chapters are left, I would suspect that the 4 cores are going to all be 13 episodes. That's my hunch. 52 episodes seems like the right amount, both because I've heard there is a lot of pages in this final arc that are a lot of wider shots, a lot of action shots, so mix that in with the quicker pacing that they want to go about things because they're not adding filler or trying to prolong it as long as possible. Around 50 to, because I don't think under 50 would work just based on what I read of the Bleach anime and how things that I would want to see paced, so 52 seems about likely. 4 cores, split core, every other season will get a new batch of episodes. Like, how could you not be excited? Like, the hype around this show was enough for me to go out of my way to read the manga, which I normally never do. I would have rather just watched the anime 2 times speed if I had to. But there was something just so great about how quick things happened, how there's constantly new battles, there was constantly new characters that just felt so insane to watch that you just were sucked in by their charisma or just insanity. The twists and turns in the story, and how I love how Ichiko is just someone who wants power to protect those around him, right? And I think that goal, some people write off as simple, but it just is such a great goal for a character who's in an insane environment such as this, and I'm really interested to see where he and all the characters' lives will end up by the time this final arc does wrap up, and what new content, I'll see manga fans hyping up along the journey sort of a thing. But I'm excited, I'm ready. This is definitely one of my more anticipated. I quickly fell in love with the Bleach story, and honestly, I'm so excited to finish it up with the anime. Just in case anyone does ask, I actually do have plans to finish the manga as well once the anime is over. I already read over 2/3 of it. Of course, I'm going to finish the manga, but I wanted to be able to go into this anime fresh, so I can theorize, so I can speculate when things do pop up. But overall, great action, great return for the characters. Everyone kind of got their moments, some new and old faces alike, and kicking off an arc with a declaration of war after waiting so long for so many Bleach fans. It's hard not to have a grin on your face and say, Bleach is back, baby. But thoughts and feelings, theories if you got any. If you don't know the source material, of course, do let me know. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. Until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.